So I was working the front desk with my general manager in the back, and generally things weren't irregular. People came in, got checked in, etc. Life was fine until a lady walked in and stormed to the front desk, scowling at me. "Oh boy, here we go. Where's my car?" "Your car?" "Yes. What happened to it?" "I don't know, ma'am. Is it damaged or something?" "It's gone." "It's not there anymore." "No, it's not. Where did you take it?" "I didn't do anything. I certainly didn't take your car." So after this loud exchange, the general manager comes to the front, wondering what the noise is all about. He asks what the problem is, and she yells at him as I let him handle the angry guest. He could already tell she was the unreasonable type of person who didn't care how things worked, so long as it was in her favor. Seeing this, I am glad to be out of the situation. I wasn't. As it turns out, her car was towed because she hadn't placed the parking ticket we provide our guests for free on her dashboard so they can park at our hotel. This little rule was added because people don't care that our parking lot is not a free parking car lot where they can leave their car for an indefinite amount of time. You have to be a guest or do a park and fly with us for us to issue a parking permit for use. We hand them out to every guest and inform them every time that they need to place them on their car dashboards immediately, or our security will call the towing company we contract to tow their vehicle away. No, leaving it in your pants pocket doesn't count, sir. They tow all week, but their customer center is only open weekdays. And I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, so she was already in a bad way on that front. Her first version of events is, we never told her that. The general manager said that it's part of our standard check-in speech, and if she didn't listen, it's not on us. Then her next version is that she left her window open and someone must have stolen her ticket, and only the ticket. We called the towing company, and one of the few attendants mentioned that when that vehicle was brought in with all windows closed and they didn't see a ticket anywhere. We asked if it was possible for them to bring the vehicle back so that we could just circumvent this whole issue and get her to stop throwing a fit at the front desk. They were closed and didn't have any drivers available to do that as it was the weekend. Then, my favorite. She turns to me and ignores the general manager entirely and demands that I bring her car back or she will have me arrested for car theft. I give her the most, "What the hell? Are you serious? Look, I can," and my general manager scoffs before saying we can't help her as the blame is solely on her. She storms off, and I shrug, and my general manager goes into the back thinking that she gave up. She comes a while later, flanked by 2 police officers and a smug smirk firmly on her face as she pointed at me and said, "That's him. Make him give me my car back." They walk up to me and say, "Excuse me. We are here about a report on a car being stolen." I sigh and take a moment to pinch the bridge of my nose and give the lady a very deadpan glance before turning to the officers. "I assume Karen called you." "Yes, she did." I roll my eyes and launch into an explanation of events and why her car has been towed, not stolen. Fortunately, the officers are very calm on the matter, and when they asked for more details on the towing company we have a contract with, they nodded in understanding. They did inquire if I called the company to return the car, and after saying we did, but they were closed, they walked back to her. I could even catch one of them muttering, "Why are we even here?" After they talked to her, she grew more and more outraged. She finally threw up her hands in frustration, stomped off to her room, and left the next day. She trashed the room, but we had her card on file, so we got the last laugh. So this happened last October in 2020, and I feel it's finally safe to share it. Given the situation at that time, going to campus was a no-go, so everything was online. As such, a lot of programs used for coursework, which were only on PC, needed a remote link for those of us on Macs or other devices. This link connects students to assigned desktops physically on campus through an application like Citrix. It would only allow students onto the desktops when another class was not remotely using that lab at the time, and at night, when registered classes were done, The on-campus computers would show that their drives were in use, so the students who lived on campus would know that someone was remotely accessing it. Well, I was taking a course in remote sensing, which required access to programs such as ArcMap, ArcGIS, R, and ERDAS. They were only available on PC, so I, as a MacBook user, needed to use the remote link. The issue started at the start of October when I was working on an assignment in ArcMap. I was really startled when I was suddenly kicked out and then furious because I hadn't had the chance to save my latest input. I then went back to the web page, re-input my student credentials, and logged into a different desktop. Not 2 minutes later was I logged out again. Rightly peeved, I emailed the professor and TAs about it and moved on to other homework. I figured it was a bug that it would soon be fixed. No, it continued throughout the entire month. I ended up having to work on my remote labs between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., as I literally was not able to work during the day without being kicked off. It was really annoying, especially since I couldn't even work during my assigned lab time. Other students started reporting this, and we'd get a lot of emails from IT. Updates, patches, and things like that we had to install to try and patch this bug, and nothing worked. It was painful. I decided that enough was enough and took a train to campus after my online morning classes. If it was going to keep booting me off the remote, then I would just go in person. I completed the online health check, got to campus, no problem, and made my way to the building that housed all the PCs. Yes, we have a building that houses all the PCs for computer classes. Anyways, I went up and towards the lab that my credentials were registered to. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't expecting what I saw, but I sure was pissed. Through the windows into the lab, I saw two guys going from PC to PC logging students off. At first, I couldn't believe it, and then I got furious. They were laughing about screwing with hard-working students. I will call them dumb and dumber. That's why I decided to get some payback. I pulled out my phone and placed it beside the window, and it was partially hidden by the trash bin inside the classroom, recording them and what they were doing. They didn't notice me, thank God, and I got onto my laptop, remote linking to my phone. I then got onto the university social media page and started to stream the video from my phone. I put a title along the lines of "Finally found the bugs kicking students off remote desktop. Video has been deleted, and I will explain soon." It didn't take long for fellow students to take notice of it, and it went viral within 30 minutes. Names were soon put out as Dumb and Dumber were recognized, and there was a lot of hate in the comments. Even campus police replied, asking for the location. I was all too happy to give it. It was then I saw on the stream that Dumb pulled out his phone, and he started freaking out. He had noticed the stream and that it was live. I quickly rushed to grab my phone and retreat, and that's when Dumber rushed out the door and tackled me. We started brawling. It was self-defense, as he kept attacking me to grab my phone, and then I saw Dumb going for my laptop, which was hosting the stream, which was still being recorded from my phone. So I kicked Dumber between the legs while elbowing him in the neck before jumping Dumb. To be honest, I don't really know what happened next, but I do remember campus police having to pull me off Dumb. Apparently, I had tackled him away from my laptop, and he punched me in the face, with me apparently grabbing his carry-on bag, bashing him over the head with it, accidentally cracking his laptop. Oops. So, anyways, the fight was broken up and we were all taken down to the campus police office. To make a very long story short, I got a relative slap on the wrist for my part of it. Had to do some on-campus community service, but my record was kept clean. Thankfully, I was not charged for the fight or the laptop, as I was able to prove self-defense and that they hit me first and tried to destroy my property intentionally, which made it worse for them. I was let off on the laptop for a technicality, as I was punched in the face and had no idea that he even had a laptop in his carry-on. Phew! As for Dumb and Dumber, I was called in to testify at each of their hearings in December. Turns out kicking students off remote links was considered a very grave academic offense, as it was intentional tampering with others' work. The video stream I took was a big part of the evidence against them, and CCTV proved that they had been doing it for weeks, in almost all the computer labs. They had intentionally messed with over 100 students. Adding to attacking me, they got into pretty hot water. Now, the reason this wasn't discovered sooner was due to the fact that this remote link was new to us, and IT was still working through the bugs. I don't know exactly what happened next, as they just needed me to come in, masked, and tell what I did and remembered. However, I did get notification in my email in March this past year that 2 students were expelled for intentional tampering of other students' work. Can you guess who? Yeah, Dumb and Dumber got the boot for their dumb actions. It gets even better, though. Turns out they were here on student visas, which meant that not only were they expelled from the university with a black mark on their records, they were also given the boot from the country. And most definitely back to their very disappointed parents. Maybe it's karma, but they got publicly exposed on a live stream for their actions for all the school to see, which was taken down due to it needing to be evidence against them and all. But, yep, they were expelled twice for their dumb actions, and with their names in campus infamy for their stunt, hope they've learned their lesson. Edit. Wanted to add that they were actually put on a cargo flight home, as their country wasn't allowing passenger flights. They had to go because without their visas, they were in the country illegally, which would land them in even deeper hot water. The university actually took mercy on them and paid for the flight, and I agree. They may have acted stupid, but that's no reason to have to deal with border security or whatnot. I only know this because I ran into and was able to talk with one of the campus officers who told me what happened when I went in person for a lab this recent September. So yeah, those guys had to take a cargo flight home. I think the uncomfortable experience they would have had was enough of a punishment compared to being in lockup until their country's borders opened or until other arrangements could be made. So I work at a grocery store, and I've only been there for a month and have switched positions a few times. But as of right now, I'm doing a greeting sanitation station, handing out masks, sanitizer, etc. Around 5 p.m. yesterday, I was, doing my job, and this woman came in with her son, who looked to be maybe 7-9 years old. I say, hello, give them the whole welcome to X store pitch, and everything is fine until the kid looks up from the iPad he's holding. Kid looks me dead in my eyes and immediately loses it. Throws himself on the ground, kicking, screaming, all the good stuff. The lady immediately snaps at me, demanding to know what I did to her son. I was obviously very confused and said nothing. The kid is still on the ground, losing it, then proceeds to start repeatedly screaming eyes and calling me a monster. The woman looks at my eyes, and a look of absolute disgust is now on her face. I have nystagmus and astigmatism. By this time, my manager is understandably coming running over to see what all the commotion is about, and when he gets there and confirms himself to be my manager, she lays into him. Why would you have this freak up front like this? If you're going to hire people like that, at least keep them where no one can see them. My manager, now also very confused, asks her what I did wrong, and she replies her gross eyes made my son cry, and then proceeds to go on a rant about how I should be fired for scaring her son. I just went to a different area until she left. I was told she did end up calling corporate, and I was immediately given 6 paid days straight off, oddly after having a talk with my managers about how desperately I needed more hours the day prior.